Hi there, my name is Daniel Johnston, and for my project I did the Greenline Half Marathon 5K, which was benefiting Shelby Farms Greenline. So for the event overview, the event took place at Shelby Farms Park and was run by Shelby Farms Park Conservancy, which is a nonprofit organization. The race was a fundraiser for the Greenline, which helps to maintain the trails. And my duty as a volunteer was to help parking, so I was in charge of the second phase of parking in the afternoon, so my hours were from 10 to 1, and my job was to show cars where to exit out of the event. And this is the route that the runners took to do the half marathon. So the project managers, the senior manager was Natalie Wilson. She was in charge of the entire event. And then Monique Sitz was in charge of the volunteer coordinator. So she was in charge of assigning the volunteers and signing people up and answering questions if it had any. So the purpose and stakeholders. So the purpose of the event was to raise money for the maintenance of the Greenline Trail. So that's just to make sure the roads are paved, not overly garbage or whatever, clean up after it. Our stakeholders for this race included Nike, Mid-South Pulmonary Specialists, Microport Orthopedics, Go Ape, The Kitchen, Swanky's, Chiefy's Cafe, Meddlesome Sport or Sprouts, Ameriprise Financial, Hampton Inn, Courtyard Inn, and Shelby Farms Parks. So the overall project definition was the purpose of the race was to raise money for Shelby Farms Park Conservancy, which helps to manage Shelby Farms Parks and the Greenline Trail. So project scope, our deliverables was the public safety, so Memphis Police was in charge of directing traffic and blocking off roads. Our sponsors, volunteers, vendors, which included, we had a brewing company that showed up, which provided beer for after the race, and there was also food vendors. Music entertainment was a DJ that they had hired. Logistics committees, sponsorship and recruitment committees, the race setup, the race routes, parking locations, cleanup, race shirts and medals, milestones. So the registration opens August 31st, and the online registration closed November 8th. Packet pickup and race check-in was November 10th, which was the day before the race, was from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. The check-in for the race was November 11th from 6 to 7:30 a.m. And the start of the race was at 8 a.m. and the post-race party started from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. So technical requirements, it was 100% online registration. They were trying to make it a green event, so they wanted no paper waste. So the half marathon fees started out at $45 on August 31st and increased to $55 in September and $65 in October. The 5K fees started out at $25 and increased $5 a month. And then the gross runner fee was just $30 the entire time you sign up. And so the Memphis Police Department will provide traffic control and event security, and EMTs are on duty in case of an emergency. So project scope continued. So in scope was determining the location, time and budget, date, and project schedule. Out of scope was the entertainment and the food trucks, which they had to hire somebody else to do. So change management plan, the race was going to take place whether it rain or shine. The only issue was if there was inclement weather, they would let people know the day of whether or not they were going to delay or cancel the race. So it's just some of the issues and risk was weather, obviously the inclement weather plan they had set up. Runner safety, because the runners are running alongside next to a major road, so just making sure nobody got injured doing that. And then traffic, trying to control traffic again around the runners, because they had runners crossing streets and they needed people to check the crosswalks just to make sure nobody got hit. And then so some of the resources used, so on November 10th, which was the packet pickup day, they used an entertainment system. They had food trucks there and tables were used. And then for the actual day of the race, they had registration tables, they had large canvas tents, they had the entertainment systems, food trucks, and then they had on the race course was water cups, coolers, and then they also had the t-shirts and medals. So my recommendation was that overall the race was well planned out. This was, I believe, the 7th year that they were doing this race, so they knew what they needed to be done. But my only recommendation would be to hire less volunteers because there were too many parking attendees, and several of us were released early from our jobs. And then there was also kind of a lack of command presence, so it was kind of tell who was in charge, and they didn't really assert themselves. But other than that, it was a well-run race. So thank you very much.